A modern supply chain is an engineering marvel. It's designed for perfect synchronicity, where parts arrive exactly when needed, stripping waste from production. But this efficiency is brittle. Consumer behavior is erratic. A viral trend or a sudden market shift can cause orders to spike far beyond what any forecast predicted. This is demand uncertainty. Physical logistics introduce a second layer of chaos. Shipments delay, customs stall, or ships encounter severe weather. This is supply and timing uncertainty. When these variables shift, the result is a stockout. The assembly line stops, retail shelves go empty, and the business loses both immediate sales and long-term customer trust. The ideal of perfect timing cannot survive contact with these real-world disruptions. Without a physical buffer, a business remains vulnerable to a total systemic shutdown the moment a single shipment is delayed. One solution to this vulnerability is to simply stockpile massive amounts of backup inventory. By hoarding goods, a company ensures order fulfillment regardless of what happens in the supply chain. However, excess inventory carries its own risks. Renting warehouse space, managing spoilage, and maintaining tied-up capital creates high holding costs that can drain a company's liquidity. Every organization must navigate this trade-off. They have to find a point where they have enough inventory to survive a disruption, but not so much that the cost of storage outweighs the benefit of the protection. This specific reserve is known as safety stock. It is the physical quantity of goods held to absorb fluctuations in supply and demand without incurring the penalty of overhoarding. Safety stock provides the necessary buffer to maintain operational continuity, protecting the business from the immediate costs of a stockout and the long-term costs of excess storage. Calculating the right amount of safety stock requires turning these unpredictable hazards into predictable requirements. Small operations often use the safety days method. If a business sells 100 units a day and wants a 5-day buffer to account for shipping delays, they maintain a safety stock of 500 units. Alternatively, the average max method looks at historical extremes. It assumes that if you hold enough inventory to cover the worst delay and the highest sales spike you've ever seen, you'll be protected against future shocks. The formula subtracts your average performance from your historical maximums. The difference is the shaded block of inventory you keep on hand to prevent a stockout. The problem with this logic is that it plans for the rarest, most extreme outliers. It forces a company to pay for massive amounts of inventory that might only be needed once every several years. While these simple calculations are easy, they are often too expensive for high-volume businesses that cannot afford to have capital sitting idle in a warehouse. To manage high volumes more efficiently, enterprises move away from historical extremes and toward probability. This is the service factor approach. Instead of trying to prevent every possible stockout, a business sets a target service level. They may choose to hold enough stock to be protected during 95% of demand fluctuations, accepting a 5% risk of a stockout. They then multiply their statistical measure of variation, like standard deviation, by a service factor, or z-value, from a lookup table. For a 95% service level, the multiplier is 1.65. When real-world conditions shift, planners use situational adjustments to update these models without recalculating the entire dataset. If a supplier's lead time changes or expands its distribution network, formulas like the square root law scale safety stock levels proportionally. These statistical methods allow a business to define exactly how much risk they are willing to accept, ensuring that their inventory investment is aligned with their actual operational needs. Safety stock represents a business's calculated tolerance for risk. It is the specific amount of material an organization is willing to pay for to ensure they never have to say no to a customer. This inventory acts as a deliberate insurance policy against supply chain volatility, ensuring that components are available for manufacturing, even when shipping times or customer orders deviate from the plan. By accurately calculating this buffer, a company maintains steady product availability, stabilizes its revenue, and prevents the customer dissatisfaction that follows a stockout. In a world full of unpredictable variables, safety stock provides the reliability needed to maintain consistent production and delivery, keeping the supply chain functional even when the unexpected occurs.